Travelling to London this week with increased certainty of the next referendum taking place. The madness of Westminster making politicians attend in person was highlighted.
Is it not the duty of every member to show that working remotely can be done effectively, or unlike every other parliament across the length and breadth of Europe, is that simply something that's simply beyond the wit of this House?
At the NHS trade debate, I argued allowing big business and pharmaceutical companies to behave as they see fit will drive costs for new drugs well beyond the NHS ability to afford them, which threatens our health, safety and national security. What the public are looking for is more than words, so I will say again what we need is a cast iron guarantee protecting the NHS. At the pension scheme bill, I backed the amendments. They would have supported impartial guidance and rectified plumbers' pension problems. Would have treated open and active schemes differently from closed ones, and would have ensured investments aligned with the Paris agreements. The government rejected all of these amendments. Then I presented a public petition on behalf of Sub-Postmasters. The petitioners therefore request that the House of Commons urges the government to ensure the extension of the post office subsidy beyond 2021. I challenged the government decision to charge VAT on protective personal equipment. The UK government removed the zero VAT rating for PPE on the 1st of November, increasing costs by 20%. My next petition called for prison officers to be given the same retirement age as police officers. I rise to present a petition on behalf of my constituents in the Lithgow and East Falkirk relating to the retirement age of prison officers, an issue I have raised on a number of occasions before on their behalf. And the story of the week was PM Johnson telling his MPs that devolution was a disaster. If I compare Holyrood with Westminster, it's pretty clear which the disaster is.
No apology and no regrets from this Prime Minister. His attack on devolution wasn't just a slip of a tongue, it was a slip of the Tory mask.
As Johnson and Sunak have refused to help the 3.5 million excluded self-employed and freelance workers, I presented a petition on behalf of local constituents. The petitioners therefore request that the House of Commons urges the government to bring forward additional measures to support those self-employed and freelance workers. And unionists are well into panic mode, launching a union task force to try and cover Scotland with union flags and scare stories. Even former Prime Minister Brown can see the writing on the wall. With 6 weeks to go until the end of the EU transition period, the UK still has no answer to how it will cope with only 10% of the required ECMT permits for drivers. Ron Mackenzie, the Road Haulage Association's Policy Director, gave evidence to the Scottish Parliament in which he highlighted a no-deal Brexit scenario where lorry drivers would be forced to rely on ECMT permits, of which the UK has been allocated around 4,000, when despite more than 40,000 being required. And against the backdrop of Tory inaction at Westminster, the Scottish Government, in contrast, has been taking bold and progressive steps to tackle the blight of fuel poverty where it can. But without control over social security and energy policy, we're fighting with one hand tied behind our backs. The reason that I have asked for this debate to focus on energy price caps is because it is a UK Government fuel poverty policy that relates to energy costs, one of the reserved key drivers of fuel poverty that the devolved nations have no control over. West Lothian, along with other areas, is now in level 4 restrictions, so it would be a good time to remind everyone to download and use the Protect Scotland app if you can. Together we can beat this. I closed the week with an online panel discussion about Islamaphobia in schools. There is absolutely no place for hate in our society, and we all need to play our part to ensure this is the case. As always, do get in touch if you require any assistance or have issues which you would like raised on your behalf in Parliament.